I am Tony Ruiz of Gold Derby here with Moira Frazier, the Emmy-nominated hairstylist from Abbott Elementary. And Moira, this is your first Emmy nomination. So I'm curious, when you got that news that morning, what did that feel like?
I mean, first and foremost, there was like a burst of emotion that came all over me. I couldn't describe it. Like my husband gave me the news and I just was like, I don't believe it. I gotta see it on the actual paper, or actual website. So when I opened the website and actually looked at the full list of nominees, it just felt like a huge weight was lifted off, because I know so many people work so hard, so hard, so hard just to even be recognized for their work. And even when my husband told me, I was literally in the middle of ventilating, I was ventilating a wig and while he was telling me. And it just made me feel like all that hard work, all those sleepless nights, all those nights I was up late working on wigs, ventilating wigs, going back to the drawing board, having all those meetings with the producers and everyone, and just made me feel like it was finally being recognized and all that hard work paid off. If you stay consistent now, it'll pay off.
Well, and I feel like that's such like an important thing that folks in this type of craft get the recognition, because I think particularly when it comes to, say, contemporary hairstyles, I think there's a misconception, obviously, as to the amount of work that goes into it. Do you find that to be the case?
So I do, because there's a fine line. As a hairstylist, we naturally want to make people's hair look gorgeous and beautiful and things of that nature. I come from the salon world, so of course that's natural for me. But you have to be able to, being in this industry, in the TV and film industry, you have to find that happy medium to make hairstyles tell the story with the character. You know what I mean? Like for Janine's character, for example, she has naturally curly hair, but Janine's a quirky girl. I can't give her, a middle part, bone straight, glamorous hair like Ava, because it doesn't matches her character. Hair always matches the character. It just does. You can't, that's something you can never erase, because that's the first thing we see. You know what I mean? And to do that in a way to where you're connecting with an audience, such as teachers and just the everyday person, those hairstyles you see on everyone that you know as a teacher, or just, the regular, not the regular working class people, but you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. No,
those
and I
hairstyles
think,
are relatable to the average person that views the show. That's what I meant to say.
well, and I think that makes such a big difference, because when you have a character like Janine, when we see her in season
Yeah.
2, she's gone through some changes over the summer. She's coming back
Yep.
in a different state of mind, and I'm curious as to how you go about translating that into her look.
So, like, one of the things about Janine's character is that she never changes. She always is, straight to the point. She wears her hair on one side, never ever changes. I remember there were episodes I was even conversing with Quinta, like, can we do something a little different today? She was like, no, it's not Janine. I was like, okay, we're going to stick with Janine. And it makes all the sense in the world. So when Quinta wrote in the script for episode 1 that she wanted to change her part, it's more so turning over a new leaf for her, because she wants to try something different, because everything that she had been trying had not been working out for her. So because of that, she wanted to step out of her shell, step out of her comfort zone and do something different, which is something as simple as change her part. That's simple to the average person, but such a big thing for someone like Janine. It shows
And so
progress.
And so when you're attacking each episode, does the process start with the script for that episode?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I always read the script, dissect the script, and check the mood and temperature of the script. And sometimes when writers do sometimes when they write something in there and I may not understand what they're trying to convey, obviously I'll consult with them and ask them different questions, but it always starts with the script. It always starts with the black and white.
So you take Janine as a character, but then you contrast her with somebody like Ava, who is so larger than life and so, so much. She's just so Ava.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so how does that change? Does that make it easier, or does that actually make it more difficult?
It makes it easy. Ava is that roundaway bougetto, that's my word, bougetto girl that almost everybody got that one friend like Ava. And for her, she's a more outgoing one. She's the one that changes her hair like she changes her clothes, or changes her hair like she changes her mood. And for Ava, it's so much fun doing these completely different looks with her, because we always like to switch it up. We always like to change it up with Ava, and Ava's personality conveys that. And I love the fact that Janelle delivers Ava to the T. Reminds me of back home. Reminds me of the girls that I used to do in the salon back home. So yeah, it was a perfect comfort zone doing Ava, and that contrast with Janine. So when they play it out on screen, it's amazing.
Tell me about the episode. I believe you're nominated for the festival episode, if I'm remembering
Yes.
correctly. What were some of the specific challenges of that particular episode?
So Chris, which is also known as Jacob on the show, his hair was, for us, he never gets his hair wet, like, ever. Okay. He's the most put together, aside from Tyler, he's the most put together character of the show. His hair never, ever, ever, ever changes. Well, most of them do, but his never changes. You're never going to see a difference with him, except for his haircut that we did introduce to everyone this season. But for him, the challenge was to make him look like he was dunked into the dunk tank. So of course we had to loosen all of those curls that we do every day. And I got to give props to my key hairstylist, Dustin Osborne. He's the one that takes care of him, and also Lisa Waters on our show. And we nailed it. We did it, and we nailed it like it was supposed to be nailed, and gave the look like it was supposed to have been given. So yeah.
Three words. Sheryl Lee Ralph, go.
Oh yeah. Legend, icon. I mean, geez. Legend, icon. The one. What else can you say?
Well, am I correct? Am I correct that I think I read somewhere that you played a key role in her Super Bowl performance?
I did the hair for the Super Bowl. I custom made her 30 inches of kinky curly hair that we shipped in over from India. And I wove those pieces into her hair. So we didn't do a wig for that. That was just all hair pieces. And I blended her natural hair texture into those hair extensions. And obviously it just blew everything out the park. The thing with the Super Bowl this year, because it was such a monumental moment in history for us Black people, period, was to keep her on the natural hair.
I on a show like Abbott, where you're doing, say 22 episodes a season, the pace has to be, kind of breakneck. How do you kind of juggle all of that?
Well, first of all, you have to have an amazing team, and you always have to be on top of it. And you always have to be on top of things. They spew out scripts like there's no tomorrow. We're getting scripts when we're doing a 22 episode show. We get at least 6 scripts before we even start. Just an idea to get us prepared. And then every week when we have our production meetings, where we're bringing all of our ideas to the table at that production meeting so we can fine tune and get ready to shoot. It's very fast paced. very like, you always got to stay ready and stay on top of your game when you're doing a show like this, because things can always change at the last minute. We've had situations where we booked, certain cast members who we thought was going to come in one way, and then I had to pull out the sewing machine and completely do a wig on the spot in less than 2 hours. Like, make a wig in less than 2 hours with my sewing machine just before they go out and film. So those are the challenges that we do get, but I love a good challenge because it just keeps us on our toes. We work the best under pressure. I know I do. And my team works good under pressure too. And I got to give props to, like I said, Dustin Osborne and also Christina Joseph, who are my core team. And I keep them on their toes, just like this show keeps me on mine.
One of the things that I always find really interesting is, the people who work in this kind of like style context, whether it be hair or costuming or things like that, is the approach for, like, if you're doing somebody's hair personally, is the approach different than doing it for, say, an entertainment purpose, for like a media purpose?
What do you mean? Like, as far as, let's use Shirley Ralph as an example. So trying to take her out of the Barbara character into the Shirley Ralph character?
Yeah.
Absolutely different, because a lot of times you also have to remember Barbara Howard is a character. You know what I mean? You can't bring Cheryl into Barbara. It has to be separate. Barbara has Cheryl qualities, if you know what I mean, but there is a different approach that you have to have when you are transforming an everyday character into their true form when they hit the red carpet. So yeah.
Has there been a challenge, either working on Abbott or working on anything else, where you hit a point where you're like, I don't know how to deal with this, and how do you push through it?
Oh Lord, I can't pinpoint a challenge. It's something every day. Not in a bad way though. I think every challenge, I look at it like this. Every challenge that I'm faced with, I take it as a lesson. And what I don't know, I ask questions and I learn along the way. But I never let that challenge ever get the best of me. I always figure it out a way to make it work. And later on down the line, I might say, you know what, this was crazy. Did you know this would happen behind the scenes? And they'll be like, sometimes the talent will be like, I had no idea. Like, yeah, girl, well, y'all did good because we had no clue. So it's always good to just keep your game face, take every challenge that you do have, and always see the lesson in it. So you'll know, okay, I'm not going to do this that time. I'm not going, you always want to be on top of it. I know there was an instance where there was an episode where I literally thought we were doing one particular hairstyle. That's what we had discussed. That's what we had, I had all my tools already. And then at the very last minute, it changed. And she had to be out on camera in like what, 15 minutes. So I was already finished with the first part of the hair, the first half of the hair. So I had to literally say, okay, just take a deep breath. Let me figure this out. I told Dustin, go over there and grab me one of them wigs in that bag, like one of them bins, grab me one of them wigs. And I threw a wig on and plopped it on her head and she was out the door. So at that instance, she was wearing like 2 wigs one because we had to switch it up. But it worked. It worked. And I'm so, like I said, I'm so grateful for challenges. And I think a lot of times I used to be on a show called Hair Battle Spectacular years ago on Oxygen Network. And they put us through the ringer when it came to challenges that you had to do at the last minute. And you had to build fantasy hairstyles in less than 2 hours and fantasy hairstyles in less than 5 hours. So that always pushed my creativity and pushed the hacks that I learned along the way. Like, okay, well, nope, you got to tack this down and do this and send them out and make sure this looks good. Like I love that challenge. That's why I don't necessarily break under pressure, because I went through that whole experience and I can only just be thankful for it because I can apply it to my everyday life and every day on set.
And it can get you an Emmy nomination.
Exactly. That's what I say. Hard work pays off. And you gotta respect the journey. You gotta respect the journey, and you gotta embrace the journey, because everything is, you know, a learning experience, and everything that I've done in my past has led me to this final moment right now. And, you know, I gotta thank God, and I gotta thank my family, and I gotta thank, you know, the support system that I have. And I gotta be grateful for that journey, for the ups, for the downs, for the yeses, for the nos, because it all led me to right now. It led me to here, talking to you about an Emmy nomination.
You're infectious. I love it. Mariah, congratulations. Everybody go to goldderby.com, make your predictions for the Emmys, and stay tuned for interviews with more Emmy nominees coming up in the weeks ahead. Moira Frazier from Abbott Elementary, congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.